and come on in. Good morning, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Good morning, come on in. Let's chat. Let's chat. Good morning, Splanet. Let it flow. Good morning, Kali Lonu. Good morning. I hope you guys had a good weekend. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. My name is Aisha Chidole, and I'm an immigration lawyer here in Atlanta, Florida, but I represent clients in all 50 states in the United States. We handle different kinds of immigration cases, family-based cases, so marriage, consular process, sibling, parent, child, fiancé visas, I-751s, which are for removal of conditions. We also handle humanitarian-based cases like VAWA cases, removal of condition, not removal of condition, VAWA cases, trafficking cases, victims of a serious crime, and also we handle removal cases, deportation defense, and bonds if you are detained. Welcome in. Let me put my phone number in here. If you want to schedule a consultation with me or one of my very able attorneys, you can call us at this number. Let me just pin our phone number here. It's 407-995-6567. It's also on the ticker. And also, you can actually book a consultation directly through the link in our bio, which I think should be up if you want to book a consultation. If you book a consultation, it would be with any of us attorneys that are available for the consults. But, we usually have to fill out those questions to make sure that you're eligible for something before you book the consultation. If not, you can just call to determine if you're eligible for something that you need to book a consultation. So the first thing I want to talk about is I want to quickly go over the most recent news in immigration. Obviously, I'm sure you guys know that FIFA, the World Cup, is coming, and a lot of the countries that are qualified or eligible for the World Cup are some of the countries that USCIS had imposed visa bonds for. And again, if you don't know what a visa bond is where they said you can pay basically up from $5,000 to up to $15,000. You have to pay to get a visa to come into the United States. But I guess, with FIFA coming up and, making, not sure if they're going to have enough people to come here to watch it, they have loosened it just for FIFA attendees. And the requirement for that is that they will waive the visa bond requirement for nationals of competing countries. So your country has to be competing for them to waive the bond for. And the requirement is that you have to have purchased your tickets by April 15th of this year for the World Cup. And you have to have opted into the FIFA priority appointment scheduling, which is called PASS, through the FIFA website, to apply for it and to have your visa waived. So if you're from one of those countries that is facing the bonds, they're just for people attending based on this, they're kind of releasing that for them. So we'll see what happens with that and what that's going to look like. Blue Trina says, my able lawyer of the universe, you are blessed for the good work that you and your team does. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Why is naturalization N-400 for military members delayed? It's delayed for everyone. It doesn't really matter whether you're in the military. It really doesn't matter what country you're from. As you guys know, as of April 27th, they started using a new system. And that new system has to rerun all fingerprints, all biometrics, no exception, regardless of what country you're from, before they approve the green card. So again, as they said, they're prioritizing those who have had interviews or those who were scheduled for interviews prior to, and I had the application submitted prior to April 27th. So that's kind of what's happening right now. So yeah. The visa bulletin is moving. It's a good problem. It's visa ban. We don't know when it will end. Frustration. I'm not sure if I really understand your question, but yes, the visa bulletin is definitely moving, and there is that visa ban versus visa pause. I want you guys to understand that a ban is different from a pause. A pause means that right now it's temporary and they're working through whatever it is that they're working through to start processing it. A ban means that they're not allowing it, unless they change. They change or they meet whatever requirements that they want them to meet before they start allowing back. One of the things that this administration has said is that the countries with the visa ban, that every 6 months they will review them to determine who's still going to stay on the ban. So we have 6 months coming up because those countries, we have the 39 country ban, and those people from those countries, the ban started in January of 2026. So June will be 6 months. So I'm curious to see in June what happens if any of them are removed from the actual ban list. Have you handled fiance visas or green card visas from Jamaica? Yeah, we do that all the time. I'm not sure if you've not been on our timeline yet, but we handle that all the time. My issues are age gap concerns prior to marriage, whether DIY makes sense. DIY does not make sense for anybody. Especially in this current administration. Like I always say, you don't have to hire me, go hire whoever you want to hire, but it is not a wise decision to make with all the scrutiny and the strictness and the changes in policy happening right now. You should be using a legal counsel. You should be speaking to a legal counsel to make sure eligibility, and to make sure that you're submitting what you need to submit and you understand what to expect and stuff like that. So you should not be DIYing it, especially in this question where you're saying there's an age gap. Age gap is a red flag. Age gap is a red flag, especially if you're from a country where age gap is not common. Now, is age gap approval impossible? No, it's not impossible, but it is going to require you to go over a hurdle, right, to prove that this is a genuine marriage, regardless of the age gap. You still love each other, you're still attracted to each other, and age is just a number, especially when the age gap is the woman being much older than the male. That's where you're going to see the biggest red flag, so definitely do not try to handle it yourself. I applied for citizenship and I haven't been called since September 2025. I'm from Nigeria. You are from one of the countries that has the adjudicative hold, so you should expect delayed processing in your case. If you are from one of those 39 countries outside the US that have the ban, in the US you don't have the ban, but you have an adjudicative hold. So it means that your process is going to be delayed. Like I mentioned to you guys, and I posted about this yesterday, we've started to see very like a trickle, so like drop of decisions for people from the banned countries. I think I posted like 3 Nigerian cases where we got the I-130, I-129F approved. So we're seeing those approvals happening, which means that they're kind of going through them on a case-by-case basis. There's no big announcement saying, oh, the pause is over. It's just they're doing like very, very, very detailed review of those cases. That said, everyone, regardless of what country you're from right now, you're undergoing a refingerprinting and biometrics of whatever fingerprints you submitted. So expect a delay with that, because that's just what the instructions that USCIS officers have been given and what they confirmed to us, that they cannot, one of our Nigerian clients who had their interview last week, was it last week Monday? I've just lost track of my dates now and time. Either last week Monday or the Monday before, she said, I will approve the I-130, but because we're running all this stuff for the 485, we can't approve the 485 yet. So she did make true to her word, and she approved the I-130. So, and requested actually new medicals for this particular client, because the client needed new I-485 medicals. So that's the update on that. I got my 10-year green card. I was married to a U.S. citizen through VAWA. When can I file for citizenship? If you got it through VAWA in 2025, usually from a timeline perspective, eligibility starts 3 years after you received your green cards. If you received it in 2025, the earliest time that you'll be able to apply is 2 years and 9 months. So depending on when or what month in 2025, it would most likely be 2 years and 9 months from whatever date that is. But understand that, to apply for citizenship, it's not just meeting the timeline. You want to also make sure that you're filing taxes, you've paid everything they owed with taxes. If you have children that do not live with you, that are under the age of 18, that you have some sort of child support arrangement where you're providing for them financially. And this is both for women and men. Women, you're not exempt from this. If you're male, you want to make sure that if you're registered, if you're between the ages of 18 to up to 26, that you're registered for selective service. You want to make sure that your travel history, that you've been in the United States for more time than you've been outside the United States. So you want to look at it as half the time that's the maximum. Obviously, that's pushing it close. But you want to, if your requirement is 3 years, you want to make sure you've been in the U.S. for at least 1.5 years. And you want to make sure that none of those trips have been more than 6 months. So they're it's a bit nuanced, and other things that you need to take into consideration when you are applying. And then, of course, the biggest one is good moral character. We want to see what is the, what is your, what is your arrest record, arrest history, anything like that, and whether or not you're eligible based on that. Okay. Jamal Banks, I requested for an I-551 stamp, which is a green card stamp from USCIS, and they sent me one, but my date of birth is incorrect. What should I do in a situation like that? You have to let them know that there's a typographical error that's incorrect. Most likely you'll need to, or they will ask you to submit your birth certificate. So you're going to need to do that. Or ideally, the easiest way to do it is schedule an info pass, make an appointment so you can go into the office and have them do it and fix it right there and give it to you right there. Okay. Okay. Let's go on Instagram. Can Nigerians still complete naturalization application with the ongoing ban and change in policy? There's no ongoing ban for Nigerians in the United States. Guys, please stop giving wrong information. There is a pause, a hold on that final decision. We are going to interviews every day. The Nigerians here that have applied can confirm that they're going through biometrics, they're getting their RFEs or having their interviews, they're getting their I-130s approved and all of that stuff. So it is a pause on the final decision. The final decision is paused for everyone, not just Nigerians, because they're rerunning new fingerprints. So yes, if you're eligible for naturalization, you should be applying for naturalization. When they finish reviewing your stuff and in the trickle they're going through, they will make a determination. There is no ban if you are in the United States applying for naturalization. There is only a ban outside of the United States if you're applying for a consular process into the United States. Please understand and know the difference, guys. My EAD was approved from last December, but I haven't received the actual card yet. Should I be concerned? Yes, you should absolutely be concerned. Usually after they approve your EAD, you should get it within 2 to 3 weeks. If you haven't gotten it, you definitely want to use the USCIS option of did not receive document. You can either fill that out or you can try and speak to a real human being on the phone there to see, about them resending it over to you. Someone is asking, does that mean we have to go and redo biometrics? This is a really good question. No, not if you've already done your biometrics. If this question is about those who basically they can't make a decision until they rerun new fingerprints, the new FBI fingerprints and the new FBI system. As the officer pointed out, you're not going to need to redo new biometrics. They're going to just run your fingerprints based on what you already have, because they have this new system that has more access to the FBI database, to expunge the records, to seal documents and all of that stuff. Because, sometimes USCIS in the past will ask, they'll send an RFE asking for, like your like your criminal background or whatever it is. And sometimes, clients might have a sealed record where we're not able to get like the information. Now they're going to be able to have access to that to see that, and stuff. Okay, so let's take some questions. Sorry guys, like I'm just trying to scroll up from the logins to the questions. Do you give advice on asylum cases? No, I don't. I don't handle asylum cases. Sorry. Is it a good idea to still file for adjustment of status and work permit based on VAWA now, although there's a pause? Absolutely. If you're eligible, you should file. You shouldn't wait till the pause is over, because before you can even get to the decision of a valid decision, a work permit decision, you're still looking at anywhere from, like, at this point right now, we're seeing really more like 8 to 10 months or 11 months. So, by then, I'm sure that most of those things will make a decision. But imagine starting your process then and then having to wait another time. And each of that window, you don't have the ability to do anything. You're, landlocked. You're worried about your status here, and if someone's going to come and knock on your door to take you, whatever it is. So yeah, if you are eligible for something, you should be filing, because again, they are processing the cases. Like if you go on USCIS website, it literally states that, even the countries that have the ban, it literally states continue to apply, because we are going to be processing the cases. We're just not going to make the final decision until we finish this thing that they're trying to do. So imagine you not applying, and you, meaning like, imagine getting to the part where they're going to make the final decision. And if, let's say, okay, no more pause, and then they can make a decision, versus you choosing to start then. And so then now you're waiting 2 or 3 years for whatever it is you're filing for. So yeah, if you are eligible for that, you should be filing. Our I-751 interview is still getting waived. We've had a few waived this year, but with every case, you should always assume you will be interviewed. If it's waived, great, but you should always be prepared for an interview. Almost always. If it's waived, an I-751, for those who don't know, that's when you file for the removal of the conditions on your 2-year green card so you can get a 10-year green card. You should fully expect to be interviewed. If they don't end up interviewing you, great, but you should never put an application in thinking, oh gosh, I hope my interview is going to be waived. You should be prepared and preparing for your interview, and then if they waive it, then that's great. Okay, let me see what else I can answer. Okay. I'm a U.S. citizen and my husband is a Liberian citizen. Would it be a benefit to reach out to your office if the I-130 has already been filed, but my husband and stepdaughter already? I don't think you finished your question. Of course, it depends on where you are. Your husband is Liberian, but where is he? Is he here in the United States? Is he outside the United States? Because are we looking at adjustment of status or consular processing? But either way, it would be good to schedule a consultation to know exactly which one you're trying to do. Because if you're a U.S. citizen and he is in the United States, you are actually eligible for adjustment of status. You don't need to wait for the I-130 to be approved. So you can certainly reach out. What if immigration loses all your documents, which in my case they did? What should I do? And guys, believe it or not, this happens more than you think. I've had an officer even call me once, say, listen, we lost your client's file. I'm just telling you, can you resend it? And this was like a year later. And I was like, well, if we resend it, you need to make a decision ASAP. And, I need to send it to attention of you because this person has been waiting, a long time. So if immigration lost your document, La Lizde, how do you know that they lost your document? We've had cases where we suspected it was lost because they sent us an RFE. or sent a denial based on a document that was missing. In those cases, like apart from the fact that we send it again and or ask for a sua sponte motion, sometimes I'll also add an affidavit outside of my cover letter confirming under penalty of perjury that this is a complete packet we sent. And if you guys don't have it, that means you guys lost it, because we would not put it in the table of contents if we didn't submit this documents. So those are the different types of things that you can potentially do, or hire a lawyer, to help you with that. They'll be more effective than you would. If my spouse withdraws support for my I-751 after submission, what can I do? We would need to see what else you're eligible for. With an I-751, there are a few ways in which you can remove the conditions in your green card. So, of course, the first one is a joint filing with your spouse. But sometimes some people are no longer with their spouse. They're divorced from their spouse is abusive, or their spouse has passed away, or they've not divorced their spouse, there's no abuse, but the spouse doesn't want to work with them, and they're going to suffer extreme hardship or suffered extreme hardship over the last 2 years. So we would need to screen you to see if you're eligible for a waiver. And if you're eligible for a waiver, you can always amend your I-751 application to select the waiver. Okay, because if USCIS denies your I-751 case and sends you to removal proceedings, that's in front of an immigration judge, the judge can only make a decision based on what you selected. So if you still have a joint filing and they send you to removal proceedings, the judge will say, well, we're going to deny the case because there's no joint filing. So you would need to amend your application, to file based on that. The most important thing with a 751 is proving that your marriage was genuine, good faith marriage. So, obviously marriages break up, things happen. Sorry guys, my hair is driving me crazy today. Marriages break up, things happen, or whatever it is. But the most important thing is proving that your marriage was a genuine marriage. So you should be able to have and document evidence. Like, I don't know why, I cannot stress this enough. Like when I hear people say, oh yeah, I got my green card 2 years ago and yeah, we don't have anything, but yet we're doing a joint filing. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Or like you've been married for 3 years and you want to file a marriage-based case and you tell me you guys don't have anything. Like, think of it yourselves. Like, if you were an officer, would you approve yourself? Like, so you want to continue to document. The reason why they give 2-year green cards is because they want to make sure that people are not like applying for a green card just for immigration purposes, but truly want to build a life together with your partner. So if you get your 2-year green card, you should still be living in marital union. And if you're not living in marital union, you have to have a logical reason, which falls under one of those waivers, because you're divorced, because maybe your spouse was cheating and you couldn't handle that, or you guys reconcilable differences, or you're in an abusive marriage, or your spouse has passed away. So you just have to have a reason why you're no longer together, but it doesn't take away the fact that your marriage was genuine. So I can't stress that enough. A genuine marriage will get you approved every time. Okay. All right, let's see. I just filed my I-751. I got a message to go in for biometrics next month. Yes, that's good. You should go for biometrics. For overdue cases for EAD applications, one has applied in February last year. Is this still within normal processing time? Right now, it's a little delayed. I would say that you can reach out to see if they can make a decision on your case. Someone said we received approval from, and then it just cut off. So I don't know what you were saying. Are you located in America? Yes, I am in the United States of America, in Georgia. Okay, I got my green card via VAWA and applied for naturalization a month ago. Can I get married prior to approval, or wait till I get approved before getting married? As long as you have your green card, you can remarry if you want to. As long as the marriage didn't happen before your VAWA case was approved. But after that, you're free to marry whoever you want to marry. Okay. Good morning. My application got denied, saying my sponsor was not eligible, but you took over my case. I got an interview and a verbal approval for my green card until the pause is live. is live. Number one lawyer. Oh, yay. That's good. Thank you. Well, so hopefully we get you through very, very quickly. Okay. Received an approval from NVC March 2025 and has been waiting for an interview date. Tutsi, is it Tutsi? I don't know what country you're from, but yeah, that's normal. Once your case is documentary qualified at the NVC level, it can take more than a year, depending on what country you're from. It can take more than a year to get scheduled for an interview. Like in Nigeria, for instance, I would say that most people from documentary qualified to schedule to get in an interview, it takes about a year. It takes about a year right now. I think we had one widower whose is was slightly under that, but that's generally the timeline. All right, guys, I have to go. I have to get off live right now. I will be on tomorrow. So if I didn't get to answer your question, schedule a consultation. Like I feel like a broken clock. Stop trying to get advice from strangers on the internet. You know, so many people have different things going on with their cases that you don't know. People try to match their case with someone on Reddit or YouTube or whatever it is. They are all different. You don't know people's immigration history. People only share what they want to share to strangers online. If you want specific advice for your own case, schedule a consultation. Call our office, call another firm if you don't want to call us. But schedule a consultation so you can get sound legal advice. It's not the time to DIY or dilly-dally, guys. You guys have no idea. Like, the scrutiny that's being reviewed. Like your packet has to be airtight, like before you seal that envelope to USCIS. I hope you guys have a great day and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.